our interfaces, and let's get started by creating our first interface named isMovable. And we'll add one method to this interface, which is an abstract method with two parameters x and y. So interfaces can only have abstract methods, and interfaces can only have public methods. So any method that you create in an interface will always be abstract and always public. And for that reason, we don't even need the keyword public here, and we don't even need the keyword abstract. So those two are optional. Even though we don't have them, it's still a public abstract method. You can have any number of methods in an interface, and in Java you can even have default implementations for methods. But default implementations should really just be added if you have an existing interface where you absolutely need to add a method to it, and in order to not break existing classes that implement the interface, you have the option to provide a default implementation. So the difference really syntactically is really just we add the interface keyword instead of the class keyword, and then any method that we have is abstract. So there are typically two concepts that are used for interfaces. One is we use it as kind of the root of a hierarchy, such as an interface animal, and then we have all the abstract methods for that animal. And then we have the different classes that implement the interface animal, such as dog, cat, and so on. So we kind of just use it as a root for a hierarchy. Now, in this case, I use it in another way. I use it to define a behavior. So any class that implements this interface isMovable has a specific behavior. In this case, it is able to move. So that is another way to use interfaces. So let's create a class called point. And we can add the interfaces that this class implements here, but I just type it in here. So if we implement any interface, we add the implements keyword followed by the interface name. So in this case, isMovable. If we have a class that that we inherit from, we use the extends keyword. There's an important difference between extending a class and implementing an interface. We only have single inheritance for classes, but we can implement any number of interfaces. So we can have a comma delimited list of interface names here. And so we get an error because we don't implement the abstract method of the interface. Now we have two options. We can either implement it, or we can declare this class as abstract. So in this case, this class has the abstract methods that this interface defines. In this case, let's implement the interface, and before I do that, I add a couple of member variables, private int x and private int y, and I add a constructor where we set these x and y, and then we'll add the method and provide an implementation. So this is our move method that is defined in the interface, and here we provide an implementation. We use this.x and we add the x value to it, and for the y member variable we add the y value to it. And then we can also provide getters, so we can access this from outside, and setters as well. And this is the main thing how we use interfaces. Now if we have a class main, the one last thing I want to show how to use polymorphism for interfaces. So we create our class main, we add a main method, And so just like with inheritance of regular classes, what we can do is we have a isMovable variable here. Let's just call it movable. And now we can use polymorphism to assign it a concrete class, in this case our point. So here I could really create any type of object. If I have a car that can move, if I have a person that can move, a point, a rectangle, really anything that can move, I can assign and treat the same way. If I have a method that moves a lot of objects by x value to the on the x-axis, I can pass any object to it, even though they don't inherit from the same superclass. So this is the power of interfaces. I hope you learned a lot in this video, and thank you for watching.